I'll continue with the charge distribution for surface distribution. We know, suppose if the charges are distributed on a surface like this, let the charge per unit area be rho s. Okay, then total charge, how do we represent? Q is equal to charge per unit area into total area. This is surface integral. Similarly, suppose if you have a volume, okay, and charges are distributed in the volume. If the charge per unit volume is rho s, rho v, then total charge Q is equal to, see here, triple integral rho v dv. Is it clear? Charge per unit volume integrated over total volume. We need all this to discuss now the next concept called as Gauss law. Gauss developed a law to represent flux from a charge. Before Gauss law, it was Faraday who worked on electric displacement, electric flux density. Faraday conducted an experiment. Gauss quantified the results of this experiment. What was Faraday's experiment? He took a solid sphere. Okay, it was neutral, solid sphere. This sphere was loaded with charges. Okay, let the charge on the sphere be Q coulomb. Right? Now, he enclosed this sphere with another two hemispheres like this. Okay? This sphere was enclosed in another sphere. This was neutral initially. Right? He actually grounded it once. Neutral. And after that, he noticed a charge minus Q on this outer sphere. He found out that the flux or the field is getting displaced from here to here. There is an electrical quantity getting displaced from positive to from this charge, and opposite charge is deposited on the outer sphere. This electrical displacement, this electrical quantity that is getting transferred, he called it electric flux. What is flux? Number of field lines coming out of a charge distribution. Number of flux line field lines coming out of a charge distribution. What is the total flux? So you have to find out flux coming from a unit area integrated over total area. He saw that magnitude of the electric flux displaced from this sphere to outer sphere was equal to the charge in magnitude. Suppose here if it is Q coulomb plus here it was minus Q, magnitude wise these two are same, correct? So he realized the total flux coming from a charge distribution is equal to charge enclosed by the surface. Charge enclosed from a surface is equal to total flux that is coming out in magnitude, because charge on this sphere was plus Q, here it was minus Q. So he showed total electric flux from a charge distribution is equal to total charge, correct? So this experimental conclusion was given a mathematical form by Gauss. So total flux, if it is phi, he said it is equal to Q. Now Gauss wrote a mathematical equation to represent this flux. How to calculate this? he introduced the term electric flux density. So the flux that is coming out per unit area, he defined it as electric flux density. Okay. So now, what was Gauss' contribution? He introduced a term called as electric flux density, D. What is this? Electric flux density is flux per unit area. Total flux by total area of the Gaussian surface. Suppose you have a charge distribution here, Q. Okay. Now I want to know what is the flux that is coming out of this Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface is a symmetric surface. Electric flux lines coming out of the surface will be normal. Okay. These are electric field lines. Now take a unit area on the sphere, spherical. Okay. Let the flux per unit area be D. Flux per unit area is D. Therefore, total flux from the surface, from this Gaussian surface, total flux will be equal to flux per unit area into total area. Okay. So this we call it D. Total area we integrate it as ds, surface integral. Correct? So electric flux density represents field lines coming out of a charge distribution per unit area. It is equal to charge per total flux is equal to total charge by area. Correct? This is from Faraday's law. Total flux is equal to total charge enclosed. So its unit is coulomb per meter square. Now, Gauss provided a mathematical form. He showed that D is equal to epsilon naught, permittivity of free space, epsilon R, relativity of the medium, permittivity of the medium, into applied electric field. Okay. Now, this formula is required to solve numericals. Now, I will show you what is Gauss law. Gauss law is expressed in terms of the total flux. Okay. Now, what is Gauss law? It says total flux from a closed surface enclosing a charge is equal to total charge enclosed by the surface. Total charge enclosed by the surface. Is it clear? Total flux coming out of a surface is equal to total charge enclosed. This is the experimental conclusion of Faraday. So for that, Gauss is providing a mathematical form. Now, how to calculate total flux? This is the formula. See here, surface integral of d dot ds. This is left hand side, total flux. Charge per unit area into total area. This is equal to total charge enclosed, Q. Let Q be the charge enclosed by the surface. This is Gauss law. Now, in terms of electric field, can you write this? We know D is epsilon naught epsilon R into E. Correct? Therefore, I can write the same thing as E dot ds by Q epsilon naught epsilon R. Correct? Same formula in terms of electric intensity. Now, how to represent Gauss law in integral form and differential form? Very important. This is the first Maxwell equation. We are going to call these equations as first Maxwell equation. In electromagnetics, you will come across 4 important equations. These 4 equations can explain most of the electrical magnetic processes in nature. From lightning to the working of a motor, generator, we can explain all the electrical magnetic processes through four important equations given by Maxwell. We call this as first Maxwell equation. We will try to write now differential form and integral form of this equation. Okay. So now Gauss law. What is the equation in integral form? It is given by d dot ds is equal to total charge stored. Correct? Do you understand? And from, if the charge distribution is volume charge distribution, we all know total charge will be charge per unit volume rho v into dv. Correct? This is integral form. Using integrals we are writing Gauss law. Total flux is equal to total charge enclosed. If the charge distribution is three-dimensional, if the volume charge density rho v is charge per unit volume. What is rho v? Volume charge density. Like line charge density, surface charge density, amount of charge per unit volume. Okay? It is equal to total charge by total volume. Right? So d dot ds is equal to charge per unit volume into total volume. This is integral form. Now, what is the differential form of Gauss law? How to write it? Differential form of Gauss law is not very clear. When I write it, you will say we don't understand it. See here, using derivatives. Please see this. What is differential form? We write Gauss law in differential form like this. Del dot D is equal to rho. Rho is volume charge density. Charge per unit volume. Is it clear? See this? This is called as differential form of Gauss law. What is the divergence of a vector? You know, del operator dot product electric flux density. Dou dx by dou x plus dou dy by dou y plus dou dz by dou z is equal to rho. This is called as Gauss law in differential form. Using derivatives, we say this. This form, integral form, is easier to understand. Please remember both. In this, these equations are called as first Maxwell equations. Okay. Now, I'll write a theorem related to Gauss law. We call it Gauss divergence theorem. In that theorem, we will relate volume integral with surface integral. It is more or less similar to this. Very easy. Remember this expression. Using that, we will write Gauss divergence theorem. Very easy to prove. In the exam, state and prove Gauss divergence theorem is asked many times. See here. State and prove Gauss divergence theorem. Okay. State and prove Gauss divergence theorem. What is this theorem? I'll give you the theorem now. Please hear. Total flux. It is same Gauss law. Total flux from a closed surface or the surface integral of a vector is equal to, see this, volume integral of divergence of the vector. Gauss divergence theorem says, for a vector, if you take surface integral of the vector over a closed surface, it is equal to, see here, volume integral of divergence of the vector over the volume enclosed by this surface. Imagine this is a surface. See this? This is a surface. Spherical surface, cylindrical surface. It encloses some charge. Correct? Now small surface area on that element, surface element be ds. Correct? The vector d is this. Correct? So now It is not just applicable to electric flux. Amount of water coming out of a point, amount of heat radiation coming out of a point, it applies to any vector, right? Now surface integral of the vector over a closed surface is equal to divergence of the vector over the volume enclosed by this surface. Is it clear? Now, how to prove the Gauss divergence theorem? We have a very simple way. We will use this formula. Okay? Now, proof, I will take it. Very easy, only 2 steps. Okay? See here, from Gauss law, we know, see here, total flux is equal to total charge enclosed. Total flux from a closed surface is equal to total charge enclosed. So what do we write? Total flux is charge per unit area into total area. This is flux density. Charge per unit area into total area gives you total flux. Total charge enclosed is Q. This is also equal to, see here, charge per unit volume into total volume. Is it alright? See here, this is Gauss law. Now, in the right hand side here, I'll substitute from differential form of Gauss law del dot D. Okay, but see here, differential form of Gauss law says del dot D is equal to rho. So I'll substitute that here. Therefore, see here, T dot ds, total flux is equal to triple integral of del dot D dV. Correct? Please understand this. This is Gauss law. Now for rho I am substituting this. So we got this. Look at this. Observe this. Total flux from a closed surface or surface integral of a vector over a closed surface is equal to divergence of the vector over the volume. So what is left hand side? See here, surface integral of a vector over a closed surface, okay, is equal to, see here, volume integral of divergence of the vector. So it is in a way relating surface integral with volume integral. Now if you ask me what is the physical interpretation of this, can we see an example? I'll give you a simple example. Look at this. See here, imagine this is the tip of a fountain. Okay, this is fountain head. Water is emerging out like this. Okay, now this tip, I will enclose it in a sphere. Please see, this is a closed surface enclosing the fountain head. Now amount of water released from this small volume here, amount of water coming out from the tip of the fountain, that is the source of divergence. Water is coming out in all directions. It is like a point charge from which flux lines emerge. If there is a positive charge, flux lines emerge from it, right? This is the source of the fountain from which water is emerging in all directions. So total amount of water that is coming out of this point is represented by right hand side. Divergence, there is divergence here. Water is coming out with different velocities. Correct? So amount of water that is coming out here is represented by divergence of the velocity vector. Now that should be equal to, see here, it fills in this volume, and suppose if I make a small hole here of area ds, if I make a small area ds here, water will come out of this. Correct? If I make another hole here, water will come out of this. If I make another hole here, water will come out of this. What if I make another hole? Is it clear? So water emerges from all these small openings on the surface. Imagine a football containing air. When there is a hole, air comes out. Correct? So now an equilibrium is achieved, let us assume. Amount of water coming out of this fountain is equal to amount of water going out of the sphere through these openings. Correct? Total amount of water through this area, this hole, if we integrate it, that becomes left hand side. Correct? Total amount of water coming out of the surface through the openings is given by surface integral. Total amount of water released at this point is given by right hand side, divergence. So this example probably explains what Gauss divergence theorem says. It says surface integral of a vector over a closed surface is equal to volume integral of divergence of the vector over the volume enclosed by the surface. Is it clear? So similarly, we have what is known as curl theorem. This is divergence theorem. I have told you what is curl of a vector. What is curl of magnetic field? How it is related to current? What is Ampere's law? Oersted law? In this context, I think I must tell you what is curl theorem also. This is divergence theorem. I will show you now what is curl theorem. See here, curl represents fields which vectors which rotate. This is called as Stokes' curl theorem. A vector which, see this, rotates in space like this is said to be possessing curl. Okay? A vector that is varying in space like this, like an electric field, inverse square law, this is said to be having divergence. Correct? A vector with whose magnitude is changing like this is said to have divergence. A vector that is rotating is said to have curl. Now what is Stokes' curl theorem? Magnetic field can be represented by like this. It forms closed loops. If you have a current carrying conductor like this, this field lines represent magnetic field. So curl is a very good mathematical expression to represent rotation, curling of magnetic fields. Now, what is the theorem we are talking here? Stokes' curl theorem says, see here, curl of a vector, let it be f, okay, over a surface. Curl of a vector over a surface is equal to line integral of the vector. See here, this is line integral. Line integral of the vector along the boundary enclosing this surface. You understand it? Stokes' curl theorem says curl of a vector over a surface, rotation of a vector over a surface. Net rotation, curl gives you net rotation per unit area. See this? Curl actually gives you net rotation per unit area. Correct? When you integrate, this is surface integral, curl of a vector over a surface, correct? Net, this represents net rotation per unit area. When you integrate it with total area, you will get total rotation. So this whole LHS, if you ask me, it is total rotation, correct? This del cross F represents net rotation per unit area. Right hand side, see this line integral of the vector over the path, over the boundary enclosed by this surface. Can we have a picture to represent this? Correct? So now see here, imagine a surface. Okay, this is a surface on which imagine a liquid is flowing like this. This is the velocity vector of a liquid. Okay, it is changing its direction. So there exists curl here. Suppose, see here, if the vector is like this, magnitude nothing, direction no change. This is no curl here. Here curl exists. Correct? Please try to understand this. Here there is no curl, no rotation. Here there is rotation in space. So this field vector has curl. Here there is no curl there. Now for this surface A, B, C, D, see here, curl of the vector over this surface is this. Correct? Curl of the vector over the surface A, B, C, D is this. What is F dot dl? This is the vector F. Okay?